Growing concerns this morning about the worldwide spread of the coronavirus. 5 people have died in South Korea, and overnight that country's president says South Korea needs to take unprecedented steps to control the virus.
In parts of Jackson, Mississippi, there is water everywhere.
You feel helpless and you want to throw in the towel.
With the worst flooding in decades affecting thousands across central Mississippi, this morning they're bracing for more rain, with another 2 inches expected over the next few days. Across parts of Jackson, the swollen Pearl River, relentless, overtaking homes, shutting down streets, and flowing through bridges.
We got a lot of people hurting.
Governor Tate Reeves says the state will feel the impact of this for years.
The fact is, whether it's 6 inches or 6 feet, it doesn't really matter. When you have this kind of water in your homes, it can really disrupt your life.
All of it eventually expected to flow downstream. South of Jackson in Marion County, a desperate rush to get ready. For many, it's already too late. It's a similar scene in the state capital, Jackson, where the Mississippi Department of Wildlife is on patrol at the height of the flood, using these boats to go door to door. How many people did you have to rescue in this neighborhood?
6 people were evacuated from this neighborhood.
Now, the eyes and ears for anxious homeowners.
It looks like it may have gotten over the front door threshold, so she may have a couple inches of water.
Janet Harris is desperate for a glimpse of her house.
It's just mind-blowing. It's like, it's unbelievable. Like, I had to leave all my belongings and I just moved in this area.
But officials warn her and others to stay out of the water, not just because of snakes or contaminants, but another hidden danger: exposed manholes, covers swept away by the current.
And you'll step on it and just fall in it. And so there are channels under that manhole cover that'll just suck you in. So.
And there's no coming back from that.
There's no coming back.
From the Midwest down to the Gulf, rivers across 14 states are at flood level, with many of those areas expecting rain through Thursday.
So it's possible that this could just be round 1.
Very possible.
Millions of Americans face a gauntlet of bad weather as they hit the road on Christmas Eve. Heavy rain on both coasts.
Millions of Americans as we start this last full week before Christmas. It's bringing snow and ice and rain to a 1,600-mile stretch of the country. Parts of Missouri saw a whiteout over the weekend. Nearly 12 inches of snow fell near Kansas City in a 24-hour period.
Here, we're making sure that nothing is going to come down in the studio here.
And it is going for quite a bit, everybody.
Experiencing very strong shaking. Wow. I think we need to get under the desk.
All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back after
we'll be right
this.
Back.
Wow. Holy.
Oh my God, it's still moving. They're on the roller coaster. Oh my God. Okay, it's still shaking. We're still shaking.
Are they going to stop it? Or?
I don't know. Oh my God.
This is an earthquake sequence. It will be ongoing. So the fault is growing. We ruptured a piece in the first earthquake. We ruptured a bit more in the 5.4 this morning, and we're rupturing more now.
Meanwhile, in South Korea, the number of coronavirus cases have more than doubled in just the last day. Officials report 229 new cases since Friday, bringing the total number there to 430.
Tens of thousands of people have become infected with the coronavirus, a respiratory illness that broke out in Wuhan, China in December. So far, the rate of death is less than 3%. But as China scrambles to contain the viral epidemic, foreign nations are evacuating their citizens, and already the global economy is feeling the impact of cancelled flights and businesses closing. So is the coronavirus destined to become the next pandemic? Many certainly seem to think so, and the fear is leading to open racism against China.
The worst affected areas in Southeast Korea, the city of Daegu and neighboring Cheongdo County, remain at a virtual standstill. 2 mass clusters of infections account for the majority of cases reported so far. One of them at this hospital quickly spread, infecting more than 100 patients and staff. Wards are being prepared to treat the increase of new coronavirus patients. Raising the alert to the highest level came at an emergency meeting chaired by President Moon Jae-in. This weekend, the number of new cases has risen alarmingly by the hundreds, and he stressed that the next few days will be critical in stemming the outbreak.
The situation has become completely different since the outbreak of mass infection.
Extra resources will be directed into trying to stop the spread of the coronavirus. He urged everyone to avoid mass events.
We have vividly witnessed how dangerous it is to have a mass meeting in an enclosed indoor place in terms of the spread of contagious disease. I urge everyone to restrain themselves from group events or activities, not only in indoor places but also outdoor places.
One of Beijing's noisiest entertainment districts is now silent and empty. These restaurants, karaoke rooms and nightclubs have been closed until further notice, all to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus.
This street has everything for us to eat, drink and have fun. We live here. In the past, we couldn't rest because it was too busy and noisy, but now it's so quiet.
This epidemic has really affected daily life, but these closures are to prevent the virus. I think they are the right decision.
Some local governments say businesses must apply for permission before reopening, punishing those who ignore the rules. Across China, more than 80 cities have been partially locked down, and people's movements heavily restricted. But President Xi Jinping says some of these measures have gone too far, warning that it could harm the economy.
Xi Jinping must walk a fine line between controlling the epidemic and minimizing its impact on the economy. Prior to the outbreak, China's leaders were already struggling with slowing economic growth under pressure to prevent a downturn. Now they have a clear message for the Chinese public: keep calm and carry on.
Fascinating news from the other side of the moon. A Chinese Yatutu, I kid you not, that's what it's called, a Yatutu, Y-A-T-U-2 rover has been there for more than a year now. What's it doing?
The news is that China's Chang'e 4 lunar probe and its Yutu-2 rover have once again been woken by the sunlight that's returned to the far side of the moon. It has been confirmed that the equipment is in good working condition, so the Yutu-2 rover will be heading northwest from its current location before heading southwest to explore new targeted locations. The far side of the moon has longer bouts of light and darkness compared to Earth's days and nights. A lunar day equals 14 days on Earth, and so does a lunar night. During the night phase, the Chang'e 4 and Yutu-2 lose their power supply and enter a dormant period with their equipment on standby. When the sun shines on them again, the lunar probe and rover absorb the solar energy and wake up. Their task is to analyze the structure of the soil for the presence of minerals, to measure moonquakes and the level of neutron radiation emitted by stars. What's interesting about the probe is that China was the first in the history of mankind to land on the dark side of the moon, and the move is considered by scientists a real breakthrough, not only for the Chinese space program, but also for the whole world. There have been numerous landings on the near side of the moon, but China is the first to achieve the feat on the other. The Chang'e 4 probe was launched in December 2018 from the Xichang Cosmodrome in southwestern China and landed about 3.5 weeks later in the area of the Von Karman crater in the South Pole Aitken Basin on the far side of the moon. Thanks to the modern equipment on the module, the world's first panoramic images of a portion of the lunar surface that is not visible from the Earth have been taken at close range. The very first images of the far side were captured in 1959 by the Soviet Luna 3 spacecraft as it flew.
After every harvest, Thailand's rice farmers burn off the remaining rice straw and stubble to clear their land. The acrid smoke carries far and wide on the wind. In the northern province of Lampang, the harvest is underway. Since early in the morning, women have been out in the fields cutting the sheaves with their sickles. Finally, it's time for a lunch break.
We've been doing this work for generations. It's not a big deal. We women are strong.
There's a lot of straw left on the field, typically a kilogram per kilogram of rice. If it's left to rot, it'll release methane, a potent greenhouse gas. But burning the straw emits CO2 and creates fine particulate matter that's harmful to people and the environment. Yarovan Kamwang wants to change things. After completing her studies in Bangkok, she decided to return to her home village and develop an alternative.
Farmer occupations is very hard working. When I see they grow rice until it's grow like this, it takes a long time, and after I saw it burn, it's very sad. When I come to my hometown, I don't change their life. They still grow rice, but I find the solutions for them instead of burning.
Yes. Iran is warning that it will reconsider its cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency if the 3 European signatories to the nuclear deal, or the JCPOA, continue their, quote, unfair approach. This comes after these 3 countries formally triggered the dispute mechanism in the nuclear deal on Tuesday. Historian and journalist on the National Security State and the author of Manufactured Crisis, The Untold Story of the Iran Nuclear Scare. Now, we just had France, the UK, and Germany all confirm that they're going to launch this dispute into the JCPOA's resolution mechanism, right? In the past, you've written about how Israel and the George W. Bush administration kind of waged this information campaign claiming that Iran was acquiring a nuclear weapon. Do you see any relevance to the present crisis?
Well, yes, because unfortunately the European 3 are now sort of backing out of the role that we thought they were going to play. I think they thought they were going to play when the JCPOA was signed, which was that they would offer an alternative or an additional set of benefits to whatever the United States was promising to offer, economic benefits to Iran, as part of the deal, essentially part of an essential part of the deal. And instead, what has happened is they simply failed to come up with a formula, a plan, to actually give economic benefits to Iran. And in the end, they decided to basically join with the United States to put pressure on Vietnam. And that's really part of the problem rather than part of the solution.